the former Attorney General of Lagos State, and one from Ibadan. And we equally have very reputable political scientists and academics, lawyers. Therefore, whatever we are doing, we are not just doing it on the blues. We look at it critically. Now, going back to your question, whether we should continue with the amendment of a constitution or we should bring a wholesale constitution to supplant it. If you look at the Black's Law Dictionary, alteration includes amendment and even replacing an entirely new constitution with the former one. If we do that, we are not out of tune. But you see, we will not succumb to blackmail or armchair critics that sit down to hoodwink or cajole us into saying that, look, we should have a sovereign conference or ordinary conference or whatever. We are already the representatives of, the people. The
Honorable, if I may come in here. Honorable, can you hear me if I may come in here?
Legitimacy and other things are neither here nor there.
Okay,
if you go into the jurisprudential,
Honorable El-Sudi, if I may interject very quickly.
The jurisprudential aspect of the law. Each side has its own argument. My stand on this issue is that we should continue with the pattern we have taken.
Okay.
We already have a constitution.
Honorable.
The issue of legitimacy or illegitimacy is not an issue that we should continue to worry ourselves. We already have a constitution, no matter how imperfect it is.
Okay. Can I just ask, because I know that nobody here has mentioned anything about Sovereign National Conference. I know that there are people in the public space who are advocating Sovereign National Conference. But the question is, do we need a complete overhaul and rewriting of our Constitution or not? What will be your response to that? It could be a yes or no, or it could be something with a little bit of explanation. Do you think we need one?
We don't need any constitution. We can make do with the present constitution we have. If we look at the history, the antecedents of the emergence of this particular constitution, 50 wise men, reputable individuals in Nigeria in 1979 sat down to fashion out that constitution along the American model. And Justice Nikki Tobey reviewed the 1979 constitution and came up with a far-reaching recommendation. And that is the constitution we are, in fact, using today. And nobody can dispute the fact that he's an erudite, academic, and a jurist. A Supreme Court justice who retired, who uses vivacity and imagination, coupled with ebullient intellectualism in passing out every judgment. Such kind of person coming out with such document, no matter how imperfect it is, we should give this constitution a chance and continue to amend it until such a time we feel we are nearer to the promised land.
Honorable, you all are also recommending a 6-year tenure for the president. What is your thinking that you are recommending that length of time?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a member of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Review of the Constitution. There is no such suggestion. That is the position of the Senate. And you know that there will be a harmonization committee or a conference committee where our differences will be harmonized. We will, thresh out issues of differences. As far as I know, the overwhelming opinion of Nigerians is that we should retain the present status quo. That we should have 2 terms of 4 years. And one of the prevalent, arguments, a forceful argument to that effect is that if you leave it at 6 years, 1 tenure, if somebody comes into, the mantle of leadership, he assumes the mantle of leadership, he knows that he is only going to spend 6 years, and therefore he may not work. Somebody who doesn't have the zeal and the interest of the country at heart, a corrupt person will just sit down and amass wealth or do what he wishes, because he knows that he's not going for a second term. Although we know that there are distractions as regards to this second term, syndrome, and therefore people focus on how to be re-elected rather than, the art of governance. But in majority of situations, you find out that the governors, knowing that they still have an election ahead of them, for the past 4 years, they will assiduously work in the interest of the state, because they know that they are going to be scored, and therefore they may be re-elected or rejected.
Okay.
If in the second half of their tenure, they decide to do anything otherwise, at least in the first tenure, they were able to work for the benefit of Nigerians. So the position, the overwhelming position, as adumbrated and collated from the public sitting of the House of Representatives, is that the present, provision for 4 years of 2 terms should be retained.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now, just before we come back to the studio here in Lagos, let me ask you, some members are being touted or are being said to propose absolute power to the House of Rep and Senate to impeach the president. Is this very true?
Hello?
Yes. Let me ask the question again. It seems you didn't hear me.
No, I have heard the question.
Okay, good.
I was distracted by the movement of your mouth on the screen.
Okay.
It is not true that the House of Representatives wants to assume the sole power of impeachment of the president. That is not true. We only want to model it towards the American model. There is a marked distinction between impeachment and removal. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, Section 143, that deals with the president, does not talk of impeachment at all. It talks of removal. And if you look at the various definitions by, various dictionaries, law dictionaries, impeachment is not the same with removal. Impeachment simply means an indictment. It simply means a charge. It simply means accusation. In fact, if you look at Section 132 of the 1979 Constitution, it is in pari materia with the 1999 Constitution for a provision. Now, unlike in 1979 Constitution, where impeachment is not mentioned anywhere, in the 1999 Constitution, in Section 145, it talks of Vice President taking over either as a result of resignation, as a result of removal, or impeachment. So these are some of the issues that agitated our minds. And we equally looked at the decision in Adeleke's case, where Justice Oputa was questioning why were the briefs talking of impeachment, removal, impeachment, removal. Therefore, in Section 191 too, as it regards to governors, it talks of impeachment. So, we now say, since the Constitution has spoken about removal and impeachment, what is impeachment? We went to the American Constitution, Article 3. We discovered that impeachment can be done by House of Representatives through certain processes. And at the end of the day, if a president or a governor is impeached, it doesn't mean that he should vacate his office. It doesn't mean he should be removed. It has to go again to the Senate. Some procedures will be followed. We don't have time here, but I hope we will get time for us to thrash out. Some people just make criticisms without necessarily looking at our own proposal.
Okay, Honorable
Ibrahim El-Sudi. It is the Senate that ultimately will, by two-thirds, remove the president.
Okay, so
therefore,
essence,
there is no big deal about this procedure.
Okay. Let me just clarify.
Some people are saying that it is so boring that we should not bring this kind of thing to Nigeria, that we don't have to copy America. For goodness sake, if we are copying America, we should copy America wholesale. Okay.
Now, you are implying that impeachment will not mean removal. Removal will be as a result of 2/3, if we're following the American system, 2/3 of the members of
Yes.
the Senate to remove the president from office. So we can